Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today I want to make a live stream about the severe weather outbreak that'll be going on across eastern Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, down into Kentucky, even for the interior northeast here. And surprisingly enough, there is a moderate risk out for eastern Michigan, northwestern Ohio, and far northeastern Indiana. And the primary threat's likely to be damaged winds, and we can see some very significant winds out of that. And we do have severe storms going on right now across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, and a few severe thunderstorm watches has already been issued as well. And there's one about to be issued very soon, probably in a few minutes or so. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with this. But I wanted first to say this: the reason why I've not been uploading for the past couple days, I had a bad fall not too long ago and I strained my ankle, and it does not hurt anymore, so I feel more comfortable of uploading and make some more videos. But without trying to waste any time, and let's take a look into the latest SPC Outlook. So we do have that moderate risk for severe storms across eastern Michigan, northwestern Ohio, and far northeastern Indiana. And again, the primary threat is going to be the damage winds. You get the 45%. It's also hatched. What that hatched area means, there could be some very sharp wind gusts over 75 miles per hour. So that is going to be some very strong winds up there. And uh, and here's the hail threat. Not too big of a deal, only a 15%. The tornado threat is there at 5%, but we might get to see this upgrade to 10%. At least that's what I have my forecast at. So I'm gonna try to pull chat up on my phone here. If you guys got any questions, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. And the SPC does update again at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Looks like it's not gonna be pulling up. So are we still alive? We're still going. Yeah, we are. But here's my forecast here. So I have the moderate risk out across eastern Michigan down into western Ohio and far eastern Indiana. The only changes I have from SPC is I've expanded moderate risk and the enhanced risk further south. Um, Same thing for the enhanced risk goes into central Kentucky, where the model's been really showing a better environment in some of these regions in here, having a better chance for some severe storms. Really, again, the primary threat is going to be damage winds. You can see a few brief tornadoes in these areas. And I have an uptick for tornadoes up to 10%. And that's really some of the major changes I have made from my forecast and from the SPC. You can see this marginal risk does extend pretty far south down into the Gulf Coast states as well. Don't want to forget about those folks down there that might be watching. Let's take a look into the latest HER model here. This is actually the 12Z. Let's go to 17Z, which is out for 12 hours for right now. And going in ahead for the next couple of hours here, you can see here some of these storms will be blowing up very quickly. You can see there's even some blowing segments going on here that could indicate for some serious damage winds. You see there's one here, another one here, and two more down here out across the Indiana and Ohio state lines. So I got chat pulled up. So again, if you guys got any questions, you can go and put in the chat. All right. So now down across Kentucky here, I got a feeling the malls are developing these storms a little bit late. By looking at the environment, like looking outside my window here in central Kentucky earlier this morning, but we're getting peaks of sunshine. It's got much warmer. We're actually nearing 90 degrees, which is very warm and very high dew point. So right now the atmosphere right here is very favorable for some severe thunderstorms to be around. And as you can see here, this herd model definitely does show it. But again, I think it's developing a little bit too late. It might be uh, west of the 127 corridor, which we do have some indication it does try to show that. Last night, it was actually showing storms developing back into Interstate 65. So, miles been going back and forth a little bit. So let's take a look into some other things from the HER model. This is the only model we'll be looking into today. And this is the supercell composite. Gives an indication if the atmosphere is favorable for some supercells. There's a pop up one right up there in Michigan. You always want to find the highest number. And here you go. So this is what it looks like here. The photographs is not really that impressive. However, the environment is pretty favorable for some big time thunderstorms. You got your equinox is very high, above 200 millibars. Cape 3700, which is a lot. That's plenty. Low over shear, surprisingly enough, is not that high. So really, it's not a favorable environment for tornadoes by the look of that. But I have some doubts on that though. Let's go down to Indiana. Uh, it's better for sure. It's better. The photograph is better. The things like a big cut off here happens all the time. There we go. Sorry if guys if I cut off and stuff like that. It's really a common occurrence on this channel. But looking into analogs here, there's been some a couple supercells that's been like that before in an environment very similar. See if it really picks up into Kentucky here. The environment down here is a little bit better than probably a little further up north. Well, really about the same by the look into this. Forecast annual load over shear is weaker. Holograph is okay. But really, overall, this Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Kentucky will be the states to really watch for severe weather for later today. Let's take a look at the energy helicity index here. This kind of gives us the possibility for your tornado threat. And as you can see here, really above a 2 is things we really need to watch for. As you can see, are 4.5 up across southern Michigan, portions of Indiana. Starts to pick up into Kentucky there. So really, any of these states again does have a chance for some brief tornadoes out there. Another way to looking into it is the updraft helicity. This is kind of gives you an indication for your tornado threat and for some large hail, possibly. Higher the numbers, could be concerning. You could definitely see that up into eastern Michigan for some of those higher numbers. But really, over 100 is something you really need to keep an eye on. And there's a pretty good cluster of them across eastern Michigan. There's a couple stripes in Indiana into Ohio, and a couple stripes again into Kentucky. Those again would be the areas to really watch for. Lap rates. Will help storms build up and gain some strength. Really over a 7, which is the yellow colors. It's pretty favorable. Kind of calms down as the sun starts to go down. You can see it's pretty favorable along the Indiana and Ohio state line. It kind of goes away with daytime heating kind of go away going down to sunset. And so this is the mixed layer cape. And there's multiple things to cape, like most unstable, surface based here. And I think most unstable cape means like every layer, mixed layer, or even surface based tries to find most cape where the model is trying to show. But mixed layer cape is the one you should be kind of watching for. So really over 1,000 cape, you'll be good enough. This is cable availability, potential energy here. Now, as you can see here, there's quite a bit cape across central Indiana. And again, after dark, it really starts to calm down, and it really becomes a squall line here. And that's something we're going to watch for there. It's a pretty strong cold front, so it'll be something to keep an eye on. There's going to be two other things we'll be taking a look into. So this is the surface space LCO height. Lower the numbers, the better environment for tornadoes out there. And as you can see here, the LCO height is It's pretty low across Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. It's showing a few areas where some of the storms will be. So that'd be something to really keep an eye on there. So this is your bulk shear. Something we need to watch for is how much bulk shear this really helps the severe weather threat. And as you can see here, really above 25, 30 knots is pretty favorable, but we're getting values in some spots about nearing 70, which is pretty strong there. But let's see. I think we're done with the models side of things. And let's go ahead and move on to what is going on right now. So we're going to choose our sector. And here you go here. You do have some pretty big thunderstorms going on across Indiana into Michigan. And let me see if I can find I think there's like, yeah, it's over here. Here's the watches and warnings here. You got a lot of severe thunderstorms in Indiana up into Michigan. And there's about to be another severe thunderstorm watch in this area here in most of Ohio into northern Kentucky. And here it is. They're planning on to issue it by 19Z, which is a couple hours out. That's like so right now it's 2:25, so they're gonna issue this probably about 4 o'clock. So, and it could get larger than this, you know, and it's definitely possible it can get larger than that. So let's take a look what's going on visible satellites here. And bad news is we got a lot of clearing here, and you don't really want clearing. So you do have, there was a lot of cloud cover around this morning across a good chunk of these areas, but the clouds have break apart. And you gotta watch for these clouds right here. These are cumulus clouds right over here, and those where the better chance for some storms that could develop. So this is the surface-based cape here, and by our observations, there's a 3,500 area across northern Kentucky and southwestern Ohio. Pretty favorable environment. But really, again, over 1,000 cape, you're good to go. And really, along this cold front here, there's plenty of cape there. And this is the mixed layer cape here, and it's still favorable. 2,500 kind of by the Ohio River there. This is the LCO height, about 1,000, so it's not really that high, not that low, I should say. Uh, your current bulk shear, there's a lot of bulk shear going on, about 45, 50 knots up in these regions in here. Some other things to mention, like that the ratio composite is actually pretty elevated, about as high as a 10. So, could a derecho occur? I don't think so. I don't think a derecho occur, but what this indicates that the environment is pretty favorable for some for a possibility for a derecho, like across central Kentucky up into Indiana, Ohio, and even up into Michigan. So we're going to keep an eye on that, see if anything like that does occur. Mid-level lap rates has been kind of backing off a little bit here. Um, your the most favorable environment for severe weather at this point is kind of along the Indiana-Ohio state line, kind of back into Kentucky, really around the Cincinnati area too. Maybe even back down into Louisville, which is right over here. And here's your supercell composite, pretty as high as an 8 here. So conditions are favorable for supercells. If anything does develop ahead of this line here, if that doesn't happen, if it does happen along the line, well, what I'm trying to say here is that I don't think we won't see any supercells. If we do get any big storms that happen ahead of the front, we'll have to watch for those there. But really, the better chance for tornadoes is going to be along the front. At this time here, more than likely they're going to be brief tornadoes, although these are actually out of beta. And here's some of the probabilities here. So this is if a tornado develops. So this is the probability for EF0 plus, about as high as a 27 along this line here. So the probability for EF2, which is about strong tornado strength, about as high as a 3, anywhere across Kentucky, Ohio, up into Michigan, and even Indiana. Then EF4 plus, more than likely not going to happen. Here's your large hail parameters. Doesn't really show it, so we might have to downgrade the large hail threat down to 5% by the looks of it. The microburst composite, um, if you do not know what a microburst is where the updrafts are so strong there'll be like no precipitation coming down, but whenever the storm starts to kind of collapse itself, you'll have tons of rain falling from the sky, and when they come down, it can create very strong damaging wind gusts over 100 miles per hour. So it can even produce some hail too. But that's where if all the rain is just really holding up into the cloud and then everything just gets released. So there might be a chance for a microburst out there. It looks like the most favorable environment is kind of around the Cincinnati and Dayton area, as high as a 7. MCS maintenance, of course, about as high as a 90%, so there'll probably be MCS could happen. And I don't think there's anything else to look into here as I kind of looking into this here. Here's low level lap rates is pretty favorable. Surface space lift index here, about a -7 for a few areas. But yeah, I don't think there's any tornado warnings currently, just a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. I will check to make sure if there is any tornado warnings, we'll be able to cover that. Doesn't really seem like there's any tornado warnings at this time, but I will look along the squall line here to see if there's really any rotating thunderstorms. Looks like the better chance for rotating thunderstorms looks to be kind of around the Lansing area and southern Michigan, kind of in that triple point area, just to the north of the triple point of the state lines of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. Looks like the favorable environment for some tornadoes, possibly. Go a little bit further up north. Yeah, there's definitely the atmosphere is definitely kind of rotating within some of these storms, but as of right now, we do not have any tornado warnings. So I don't think you guys got any other questions, so I'm going to end it here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this severe weather update. If you guys would like this update, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys got questions about this, you can put in the comment section down below. I will answer your guys' questions. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.